Because TikTok is now essentially fried, yesterday none of my videos would post, and today I guess I have a couple that are getting through to people. It looks like there's 0 views to me, but I can see that people are commenting, so I don't know what's happening. Most of my videos won't post. I can't reshare posts. Nothing's happening. I can't access my analytics. I get a 404 error every time I try to look at them and look at my TikTok studio, etc., etc. Because TikTok is an absolute shit show now, and was even worse yesterday, where a whole group of us who are all aligned in a certain way couldn't post anything. The algorithm was pushing a lot of my old videos, including some of my human trafficking conspiracy theory debunking videos from the before times. And in particular, this video where I was responding to conservative white women, in particular, conservative Americans who are terrified of these conspiracy theories that say, hey, your children, or you, protected white women, you are at risk of being abducted from public places like Target parking lots. How ironic, considering immigrants are now being abducted from Target. A year later, immigrants are being abducted from Target parking lots and inside Target stores by ICE goons. But, back before the election, so I guess like a year and a half ago, and the conspiracy theories that were just like rampant on TikTok were that moms and white moms and pretty young white moms and their white children, white teenage girls, were at risk of being snatched out of parking lots by whom? Non-white men, right? To be trafficked. I'm telling y'all, that's not a thing. I said it in the before times. That's not a thing. That's a conspiracy theory. It's a white supremacist conspiracy theory used to control women, to make us afraid of people of color in particular, to make us afraid, constantly hyper vigilant, fearful of people in our communities who would otherwise be our friends and allies. It is a way that the patriarchy and white supremacy and the men who utilize both of those control us and keep us under their fucking thumbs. Right, so I have a whole series, you can go watch, I have a whole series of videos debunking all these conspiracy theories where women are melting down all over TikTok. Anyway, a big one is this Disney conspiracy theory that children are abducted and trafficked from Walt Disney every year. Tons of them. Tons of children are abducted and sex trafficked from Walt Disneyland and Walt Disney World. I can't even begin to tell you how many conservative women think that this is true. It's just, oh dear God. Y'all, your children are safer at the security at Disney is unbelievable. Probably the last place in the entire world where your child would get kidnapped and trafficked is Disney. It's just... But these folks need to feel that they are special and they're at risk, right? It makes you as a white woman, you, and then vicariously through your children, it makes you the center of everybody's attention, right? You are the epicenter of some plot line, some movie script. And it's like titillating. It's thrilling to think like, oh my gosh, my children are me. Like we could be abducted. But likewise, the whole other layer to that is to make you hypervigilant, to make you afraid of everybody, to put you just like your adrenaline is just constantly, your cortisol are just constantly like this, right? It's the on one level you enjoy it because you feel special, you feel wanted, you feel desired. But on another level, that is how white men control you. That's how white men make you fearful of everybody else. It's just what a terrible way. What a terrible way to live. To believe that every person you meet out in community is like lusting after you or your children and just like waiting to snatch you. I posted that video a year and a half ago, and yesterday I had a bunch of new comments from people who still believe this shit in 2026. And I know when it comes to MAGA, every accusation is a confession. When it comes to Donald Trump and the regime, every accusation is a confession. When it comes to white, Christo-fascist, patriarchal men, every accusation is a confession. After all, who is most likely to abuse you or your children? It's your husband, it's your ex, it's your pastor, it's your dad, it's your stepdad, it's men that you know and have a close relationship with. So of course, there's this other added layer of why they push these conspiracy theories so hard. Because if you are spending all of your energy being fearful of like a black man trying to buy detergent at Costco, who happens to be like in the same aisle as you, then you're going to be less prepared for the reality that the person who's grooming and abusing your children, or the person who is likely to commit violence against you, is somebody that you live with, is a trusted figure that is in your place of worship or is at your family reunion, right? No, children are not being abducted and trafficked from Target parking lots. They're not being abducted and trafficked from Costco. They're not, sure as fuck, not being abducted and trafficked from Disneyland. Are you fucking kidding me? And neither are you, moms of America. That's not happening. That's not happening. Traffickers don't want women with little children to traffic. They don't want protected white women whose husbands will make a giant fucking stink, who the news will make a big fucking stink over. Trafficking happens, gosh, like this, the same way any kind of grooming and abuse happens. It's not stranger abduction. Trafficking happens to vulnerable foster youth, vulnerable, largely girls and women of color, street youth, kids who come from unstable home situations. They are most likely to be trafficked by their boyfriend or a friend or a relative. It's overwhelmingly young girls of color, young women of color who are trafficked, and they don't even realize it's happening to them until it's too late. Their boyfriend's like, I'm gonna take you to a party, right? Oh, their stepmom is like, oh, we're gonna have some friends over, right? Trafficking doesn't happen like this. It has never happened like this. This is a conspiracy theory used to control you. It's used to support the patriarchy, uphold the patriarchy and white supremacy. But, as long as we're talking about all of these things, let's crank it forward until today. 2026 America, Donald Trump's America, where Donald Trump and Pam Bondi are violating federal law, refusing to release the Epstein files. Remember, every accusation is a confession. Every accusation is a confession when it comes to these motherfuckers. They are violating federal law. In December, they were required to release the Epstein files. 99% of them have not been released. The 1% that we have seen is real bad, y'all. And we haven't even seen all of the 1%, right? Not even close. The stuff that they have released is what they thought was like the most innocuous. The real nasty shit, 99% of it not released. Also, let's not forget all of the banking transactions, Jeffrey Epstein's $1.7 billion in financial transactions that my Senator Ron Wyden uncovered from the Treasury Department that Pam Bondi is refusing to investigate. So there's all the Epstein files, and then there's all of the bribery, all the hush money, all of that shit back and forth, all of the money paid to actually traffic girls. On top of violating federal law and not releasing the Epstein files, Pam Bondi is refusing to investigate more than 4,000 leads given to her by my Senator Ron Wyden 10 months ago. He gave that to her 10 months ago. I want to read a little bit here from an article that came out in The Guardian 2 days ago that's basically like, what can we do now? Because the regime is refusing to comply with federal law. They're obviously engaged in a cover-up. It's obviously a cover-up. What's next has got to be continued legal pressure and public accountability. If the special master route is off the table for right now, then the only real tools left are the court intervention, congressional oversight, Republicans in Congress, where you at? Not doing your jobs, are you? And sustained public scrutiny. Donald Trump and Stephen Miller are waging war on Minnesota. They're shooting Americans in the streets so that you forget about what happened with the Epstein files. How bad is what is in the Epstein files that they are willing to wage war on American cities and shoot Americans in the street so that you will be distracted from the reality that they're violating federal law and have not released 99% of that information. An attorney for dozens of Epstein victims said these files will not be released because it's the right thing to do. History shows us that they only come out when someone forces the issue. This reminds me of something former Black Panther said in his most recent video. He was talking about movement building. He said massive numbers are protective and massive numbers can enact change. Institutions move when the risks of reputational harm exceed the comfort of silence. And that requires millions of us to engage in coordinated, sustained pressure against our elected officials, against corporations that are supporting the regime while the regime is engaged in a cover-up of the Epstein files. As former Black Panther said in his video, like, what if 1 million people all at once got together in the course of one day or a week and emailed a corporation that was supporting the regime, demanding the release of the Epstein files? What if 10,000 people reached out to their Republican members of Congress over the phone, over email, all over the course of one day? Numbers, mass numbers are protective and mass numbers enact change. They're not going to release the Epstein files on their own, y'all. They're just going to keep spinning Disney conspiracies to distract us and murder us in the streets to distract us. If we want the Epstein files released, that's up to us, y'all, and it takes massive coordination. So how do we get there? To pressure Congress, to pressure the pillars of support and get justice.